What is going on, everybody? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I wanted to jump right into it. I wanted to go over a word that I feel is super important whenever you're starting any journey, whenever you're beginning anything that you are serious about. I want to share this word with you. And that word is commitment. Okay. So commitment, whenever you think about the word, what do you think of? Well, when you think about commitment, right? You're probably thinking about marriage. You're probably thinking about committing to a team, somebody going from high school, going and playing college. You're committing to these different things. But I want you to really think about what that word commitment really means when it comes into real estate as well. So let's go ahead and look at the dictionary and give you the definition. So I pulled up two definitions, and I want you to really think about these two definitions. The first definition, it says, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. All right, so it's the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause. All right, so you're dedicated to a particular activity, whether it's cold calling, flipping, whatever it is, you're dedicated to it. But the second definition I felt was a little bit more powerful. All right, it says an engagement or an obligation that restricts freedom or actions. All right, let me say that again. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Now, I want you to think about this, right? So there are times to where we may want to sleep in for an additional 30 minutes. There's times to where we may not want to get that additional rep up of whatever we're lifting, or do that additional hour of cold calling, or send out those text messages or whatever it is as we're marketing to find these deals. But what I really want you to think about is restricting yourself from the freedoms that are basically the excess fat of things that are not benefiting you in your life, right? So yes, you would love to have the freedom of being able to watch another series of a Netflix show, but you haven't done your cold calls, right? You love the freedom of going out and hanging out with folks on Friday night, but you are getting together your lists, right? You like the freedom of doing all these different things, but you got to go driving for dollars. You love the freedom of doing that, but because you are committed, you are dedicating yourself and you are restricting yourself from these freedoms so that you can focus on your goal. So those were the definitions of commitments, and I feel like they were super impactful. I'll go ahead and look it up yourself and really look at those definitions and see how I can relate to you in your journey when it comes to real estate as well. All right, and next, when it comes to commitment, I really want you to think about how bad do you want this thing. Now, of course, you guys probably thought it was just more like this video or this channel was more so about, oh, how do I find a hot zip code? How do I do this? But the reason why so many people fail in real estate or in anything in life is because they kind of want to be successful. They kind of want to do this thing for a little bit. They want to dabble in this, they want to dabble in that. But you have to really think to yourself, are you committed to these actions, and how bad do you really want it, right? How bad do you truly want to do this activity? Now, I explain to folks, like, look, cold calling is not, it's not a thing for thin-skinned people. It's something that, you'll get cussed out every day. Sending text messages out, you'll get cussed out every single day. If you decide to go door knock or whatever it is, you will go through hardships. You'll go through times to where you're probably not going to get a lead or deal this month. You're probably not gonna, things are probably not gonna flow as well as you thought it would be, but how bad do you want it, and how far are you willing to dig inside yourself to be able to go to that next level and receive that gift that you want? You always gotta remember why you started. So understand, how bad do you want it? If it's a burning desire inside you, and regardless of if it takes a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, if it takes a long time to accomplish this goal, regardless of how long it is, if you're still thinking to yourself, okay, yes, I want it that bad, I don't care, I still want it, then that is you being committed, and that really shows that you really want this. All right. So next point. All right. When it comes to committing, a lot of times when it comes to committing to something or being dedicated to something, it comes with a contract, right? Even with a marriage, right? There's a marriage certificate. You gotta sign that. If you're committing to a college, you gotta sign a contract on signing day to go there. And though we have contracts with marriage, with going to schools, with all these different things, why don't we have contracts with ourselves, right? Because if you have a contract with this different entity, you're like, man, even if I wanted to back out, I can't because I have this contract. But why not create a contract to yourself? And though you're like, man, I want to quit, it's like, but I have a contract with myself, right? I can't allow myself to veer away from what the goal was because it's here in a contract. I remember I watched a video, I think it was a couple weeks ago, it was Kobe. This is what's interesting. Anybody who knew me growing up know that I was like the #1 Kobe hater, but he was one of those guys to where you just love to hate him. And a commercial that always gets me emotional is one of his last commercials, to where it goes, I've been hating you for far too long, or whatever, right? That I promise you, every time I see that commercial, hey, onions in the room getting chopped up. It's crazy, right? So in a interview that he had, he was expressing that at the beginning of the summer, he pretty much has a contract with himself. It says, hey, these are the workouts I'm gonna do. This is how often I'm gonna do them. This is the duration I'm gonna do this type of workout, right? And he says he does that because he understands that a month into it, he's gonna be like, you know what, maybe I don't need to necessarily go as hard on this part, but I can just kind of, pick it up on that. And it's like, no, I made the decision, I made the contract, I made the commitment, so I have to follow through. Because let me tell you what happens, right? You'll go in and be like, okay, I'm gonna cold call for 3 hours. All right, I'm gonna text 1,000 people a day. All right, I'm going to, do every offer that I made. I'm gonna send letters out to those individuals so that they can have that constant reminder of me being in touch with them. I'm gonna get Podio. I'm going to put them on a follow-up sequence to where they're automatically getting texts and emails and RVM. Like, you're saying you're gonna do all these things, right? But then a month into it, you're like, 3 hours is a long time. Like Monday through Friday, that's a lot. Maybe my cold call days could be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because those are my hottest days. Or maybe I can switch it up here. Just commit. This is what I'm gonna do. Now here's the thing. It's one thing if you're trying something and it's not working, right? Now, before you switch, I want you to really think about, okay, are you actually doing the work? If you're doing everything to full capacity and things are not working out, then there are some tweaks that can happen later. But don't go in and half do something and say, oh, it's not working, I gotta tweak it. No, you don't. You just have to do the actual work that's required, okay? So going back over everything, those definitions of commitment, and let me go back to it here. Commitment, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. And then the second one, an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. All right, so I want you to really look over those definitions and really see how it connects with you and your commitment to real estate investing. All right, and also really think about how bad you want this. Because, and I'll tell you what, that second one, how bad you want it, that's gonna weed out a lot of people, right? If you go in here, you're like, man, if I don't get a first deal, if I don't get a deal within the first 2 months, then I'm done. Think about that. If you're just starting and you don't get a deal within your first couple months and you quit, maybe you shouldn't start. If you already know that you're gonna quit, don't start. But if you made the commitment that regardless of how long it takes, I will strive to get that first deal, then you should stay in the game. You should keep going. And always, whenever you're going on a journey like this, have a contract with yourself. It's super important so that you can hold yourself accountable. All right, with that being said, thank y'all so much for tuning in. What I want to do, I'll go ahead and put a link in the bio right now with a link to my ebook. It's called Wholesaling 101, Your First Steps. And then there it gives you a super detailed step-by-step way of getting your first deal. All right, I created the ebook because when I was a lot more active on Clubhouse, there's a lot of times where people would just ask these questions about wholesaling. And my concern is that you come on stage, you ask your one question, and you're like, man, I know how to wholesale now. It's like there's so many steps to wholesaling. Though it's a simple process, if you don't do it right, you won't complete the transaction, right? So I went ahead and created this ebook. Go ahead and click the link below, and from there you'll be able to get access to that ebook and really learn, okay, how to wholesale properly and get yourself that first deal. All right, and certain programs that I use, like PropStream and Batch Leads, I'll go ahead and link those below as well. And thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.